Now, let's start by getting right up above the whole debate about what many people would think is an obscure old book called the Bible that has no relevance and indeed can be harmful. And you come from India. You're appropriately dressed today to remind us that you come from India. A lot of people would say, well, the West and Christianity were the same, and they basically made a terrible mess wherever they went. India is the product of colonialism, that's England's original sin, and you're better off escaping the past. You radically say that modern India and indeed the world that we live in has been fundamentally shaped by the Bible, and that overwhelmingly has been a good thing, not a bad thing. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct. Just now, we're publishing a book called How the Bible Created Modern India. The title might be changed to The Bible and the Making of Modern India. I have 3 other books on Indian history before. The first one was a book on William Carey. He is the father of modern India. He was the Bible translator, a linguist who came to India in 1793. The second one was called Missionary Conspiracy, Letters to a Postmodern Hindu. These were actual letters to a Hindu public intellectual, Arun Shourie. And the third one was published for the 50th anniversary of India's independence. It's called India, the Grand Experiment, and currently it's being republished out of Cambridge for the 75th anniversary of India's independence. So, yes, 25 years ago, I was alone arguing that the modern India is a creation of the Bible, not colonialism. But now there are at least 30 other scholars who have come behind me.
There is a serious shift, even amongst people who don't believe in what the Bible teaches.
Yes, in fact, secular historians already knew this, but no one would admit it because of their biases. You would find this here and there, but it took a while to put it together. It began because in 1987, an 18-year-old widow, her husband had just died after their marriage, she was burnt alive, which is widow burning.
Sati.
And I found a German follower of Hare Krishna in New Delhi who championed sati. So this was 11 o'clock at night, we were talking. And
a modern European championing the burning of widows.
Yes. So actually
on a funeral pyre, alive.
Yes. So I asked him what he thought of Hitler, and he defended Hitler. I'd never heard anyone defending Hitler. So this is a German follower of Hare Krishna, and I realized that he is living with some devout Hindus who actually champion Hitler's idea that the Aryan race is the most evolved race, and they champion traditional practices such as widow burning. So that began my study of how did the British succeed in abolishing widow burning, and I realized that William Carey was the first champion. Others had written against widow burning before that, but he's known as the father of modern missions, but he championed the case against widow burning. Then he trained Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who is called the pioneer of Indian social reform movement, but he was a disciple of William Carey, which most people don't talk about. And then finally the widow burning was abolished in 1829, but it took a lot of research of these
abolished
people.
By who?
By the British Parliament, British
government. For many years, the British government had not restrained any of that sort of behaviour. Your thesis is it was the missionaries.
Yes, it was particularly William Carey.
They impacted on the Parliament, but it was that order.
Well, William Wilberforce, who was a member of Parliament,
Yep.
every day he prayed for widow burning in his dining table. because Carey had a group of researchers who would send names of here is this widow in this village, here is that widow in that village. So the British Parliament was being impacted because of what the reports that missionaries were sending, and the British government in India had no interest in messing with these social traditions. So if a widow is born, so what? So this was a missionary movement that this is abomination. God has said, "You shall not kill," which gives inalienable right to life. The widow lives for God. We all exist for the glory of God. Her life doesn't end with her husband's life. So this was a theological battle, that she has an inalienable or fundamental right to life, and she exists for God and His glory, not for her husband. So this is a religious, sacred religious tradition, but in the eyes of God, this is abomination. So this is just one illustration of the social evils. Untouchability was another social evil which these people began to fight. And so when I began researching this, I realized that it is really William Carey, a Bible translator, who is the father of modern India. Though Indians wouldn't acknowledge that, except in Bangladesh and Bengal. They know that he created Bengali language, and in that part of India, the scholarly people would acknowledge him as the man who modernized.